Becky, and his topic is listening as you've never heard before. From the age of 8, Phil Shebeki knew he wanted to be a great communicator. Using the unique principle he teaches, Phil has become a sought-after speaker and workshop facilitator. During the last 21 years, Phil Shebeki has empowered organisations and individuals, both personally and professionally, to achieve peak performance in public speaking, communication and leadership. He does this through his own business, Phil Shebeki Seminars. Phil is also the author of the How to Get Out of the Rat Race, which we'll be doing a door prize for later. And through his shrewd observations of the problems many people face in pursuing their goals, Phil will inspire you to take control of your life, reconnect with your passion and create the life of your dreams. Despite all of his many achievements, Phil considers his biggest one to be his 32-year marriage and raising two daughters who as adults still love to talk to their dad. Listening as you've never heard before. Give it up for Phil Shebeki.
Thanks for that, Natasha. That's a great introduction. Thank you. And Mike, Greg, thank you for inviting me to come along tonight. It's interesting because I'm sure you didn't plan it this way, but I was sitting there listening to Greg thinking, wow, that's so much in line with what I'm going to talk about, but in a whole different way. So it's really getting a similar message. Yeah, what I want to give you guys in the short, and can you let me know when 20 minutes is up? Because I've got no way of knowing because I don't have a PowerPoint or anything. Give you some sort of indication, that'd be great, Natasha. Yeah. What you guys will get by the end of my presentation, my intention is that you will have a whole different understanding of what listening is. Yeah, so I'm going to, seeing Greg led the way and had the courage to make a bold statement, I'm going to do the same thing. And because I've been teaching this skill for 18 years, and my observation in all that time is that people talk a lot about listening. Yeah, it's important, we have to do it, it's more important than speaking, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of talk and theory about listening, yeah. My experience is most people have no idea how to do listening. Yeah? And so I loved what Greg said about business is all about connecting with people. Yeah? How many of you agree with that? Yeah. So what I'm going to talk about tonight is how to do that. Yeah? So it really ties in with what Greg's saying. How do you actually do that? How do you connect with someone? Yeah, so I'll just ask a couple of questions. How many of you have ever had a conversation with someone and it's like, we just clicked? You know, we're on the same page. How many of you have had? Yeah. And also, how many of you have ever had a conversation with someone that no matter what you do, right, you try everything you know and you just like hitting heads? Yeah? How many of you? Yeah, good. So you know what I'm talking about. Now, it's like hit and miss, isn't it? It's like we don't really know how it's going to go, especially someone new. So that's what I want to give you some access to tonight, in how to create those conversations where we connect. Yeah? Interested? Who's interested in that? Wonderful. What's most of the room? Alright, well, what I want to do quickly is my take on what I've learned over the last 21 years in being in the self-development industry, both as a participant and a facilitator. A quick little simple thing on in my mind, what the whole thing of communication listening boils down to. Three simple things is what. The first one is hearing. Okay. So you're talking to someone. Yeah? It doesn't take much effort, does it? Unless we've got a hearing problem. Then we can get hearing aids. We can just hear, like blah blah blah. We can hear the words. Yeah. Now, a little bit more effort, a little bit of focus, and we would have listening. Right? That would be the next step, wouldn't it? We can hear someone, and then we focus in a bit, we can actually listen to what they're saying. Now, the only problem, and that usually is where it ends for most people in this whole topic, this whole subject of listening. The problem is, though, we listen from all sorts of places, filters, don't we? There's our values. There's our beliefs. There's our, I'm going to run out of room, judgments. Now, just let me know if it's just me that, whether I do this, I just wanted to find out. Sometimes I'm talking to someone and there's three conversations going on. There's the conversation I'm having with you, and then there's a conversation in my head. Now, does anyone else experience that, or am I just crazy? Thank you. That's very reassuring. At least some hands went up. Yeah? So you can relate to what I'm saying, yeah? And it's all based on, right, you're talking, I'm making some judgments. Now, based on my values, my beliefs, my culture, my background, what happened that day. Yeah? And so, how much am I really, when I'm listening, how much am I really am I actually understanding the person? If you think about it, if I've got all these filters going on, beliefs, values, judgments and everything else, how much am I actually understanding? Does that make sense? The person, like what they're really getting at. It's in this area here that I believe the connection happens. Those conversations where we clicked, we're on the same page. Yeah? And so that's what I want to give you guys tonight. Some access to how do you get to this point. Yeah. And it's not easy, right? I teach this to people and it takes me about a day. Yeah, so in 20 minutes, it's a challenge. When Natasha said to me, Phil, would you like to come on and talk? I said, yeah, I'd like to. She said, can you do listening? Yes. How long have I got? 20 minutes. Right. How am I going to do that? So I've been racking my brain. So it's a real challenge tonight, but I want to give you guys that. Some more questions. How many of you have heard of active listening? So everyone look around. Keep your hands up high. Everyone look around. Right? Lots of people have heard of active listening. And I'll tell you, every time I start a workshop on listening, I ask that question, the hands go up, and then I quickly find out, and again, this is a bold statement, people actually know nothing about listening. So I've actually changed the term. I don't use that term anymore, active listening, because too many people know about it. Yeah. And there seems to be a lot of theory in it. So what I now call it is assertive listening. Because as far as I'm concerned, this is the most powerful assertive skill known to man. Yeah. Bold statement again, yes, very bold statement. So, what makes me say that? Well, I learned this skill about 18 years ago. And I was really lucky, I learned it from the guru of listening. Yeah, I met this woman about 18 years ago and I noticed the way she listened was different to anything I'd ever experienced. So I asked her to teach it to me. And I was lucky enough that she did, and I've been teaching it to people ever since. And she used to call it active listening, but these days I don't call it that for, I'll explain. Assertive listening, I call it. Now, it's very simple. Yeah? Those of you that know about active listening, would someone like to just quickly tell me what's the main elements of active listening? Reflection.
Focusing on the person.
Focusing on it, yeah, so giving them your whole undivided attention. Reflection, so can you say more about reflective, what that means?
About showing empathy and understanding through reflecting what you've just said back to the speaker.
Yeah, so empathy. And more or less repeating back what they said, yeah.
Acknowledging what they have said and responding by contact, eye contact and...
Yeah, and what Blaise was saying about focus, acknowledgement.
Extension questions.
Questions. What sort of questions are?
Extension questions. Would you like to tell me a bit more about that? Well, I'm not
Yeah.
sure I understand that. Could you
So,
clarify
open
again?
questions, would that, like drawing out more information?
Show me more.
Tell me more, yeah. Let's call open questions. What else?
Not interrupting.
Not interrupting. Yeah. Like a common one is.
Oh, yeah, that reminds me.
Yeah, I had the same problem yesterday when I did that situation. Yeah.
For me, it's something about being more interested in what the person is saying and checking into my understanding of what they're saying, rather than trying to tell them what I think about the same issue, even, or go
Yeah.
on some other tangent. So it's
So,
about their listening to them.
yeah, like putting myself into their shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can even say, so my understanding is, and then repeat what you think you've heard.
Yeah.
See if it's
That's
right.
right, yeah, to see if it's right.
And if you're wrong, I'll tell you one day.
You weren't listening.
In their shoes. Sorry, what was that? I didn't catch that.
Oh, I've got a friend, she just really annoys me, she doesn't listen. I just say, you weren't listening. I said that 2 minutes ago, 2 seconds ago.
Yeah. Now, it's interesting. Why do people do that? I'm sure no one in this room does it. Why do you think people do that? That whole thing of, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I was in the situation. This is what I did.
Because I want to bring focus one to them. Two, they want to also finish the conversation. Like, it's just get on, you know, as is taking too long. So just wrap it up. A nice little bite-sized piece and then just go on to the next thing.
Yeah, great. Thanks, mate.
They want to give them the answer.
Yeah. They want
Great
to,
advice.
yeah, advice, solution, want to help.
Self-centered.
They're weak, sorry.
Self-centered.
Self-centered. Yeah, it can be that. It can be self-centered, but also it can be that they want to help.
Or they're busy thinking about their answer before they've finished listening to the person.
Yes.
Yeah,
They're
that's,
going to answer them.
yeah. Sometimes, this is the thing with listening, that sometimes listening is actually not saying anything and waiting for the person to shut up so we can tell them what they need to know that'll fix them up. Yeah.
It could be that you're showing that you can relate to them.
Yeah, that's right. People say, what's wrong with that? I'm trying to relate to them. I can relate to what you said. I've got the same problem.
I think people are desperate to be heard because no one's really listening. People's really desperate to be heard.
Yeah, and that's what ends up happening, doesn't it? Well, I discovered the reason. Do you want to know the reason why that happens?
Go on, tell us.
We all suffer from this thing called PSS, which is premature. That's not what you're thinking.
Where's this going?
Where's this going? Quick. Premature solution. Premature solution syndrome. We want to help so much that we want to give a solution prematurely. Yeah? This is the reason why listening falls down and we don't get that connection. Yeah? Because what happens, we end up talking at a very superficial level, like up here. You may have heard the term in counselling. They use the term the presenting problem. Someone comes in and they present, this is my problem. Most of the time, that's not the issue. Yeah? So if we get a solution at that level, that's when again, another question. Have you ever had the experience where you've got a problem, right? And you're talking to someone, and they're like, they give you the solution, and you're left like, eh. Has anyone ever experienced that? Also, have you ever experienced on the other side where someone's giving you their problem, and you know what the solution is, you know what it is, and you tell them, and they're like, nah, have you ever experienced that?
Yeah.
Yeah, generally they do, because us men tend to be, we really suffer from this. Men seem to suffer from this more than women, don't they? Yeah, premature solution. that from what I've gathered is the thing standing in the way, because you notice how, like, it's common knowledge, all those things you wrote down about what it takes to be a good listener. And this happens every time I do this in a workshop or presentation. People know this stuff, we all know it. Just like, that doesn't happen. And that's what I'm pointing to, it's this whole thing of, we want to give a solution. Okay.
Phil, is it an ego thing? Or
Ego, I think a lot of, what do you reckon?
Yeah, right.
Ego? I think that the thing Natasha was saying about, hey, I've got the answers. Just when we stand up here, you know, a lot of times we can feel the pressure of, I've got the answers. Ego, I think, does. And I think this is maybe why men suffer more from this condition than women. Ego. But, you know, it's women have got this too. I think, yeah. And the thing with listening, it's like we know what to do. We know that's what it takes. You know, reflective listening, reflect back. So what I'm hearing is, no. Okay, tell me more. We all know that, don't we? So why don't we do it?
PSS. PSS.
Oh,
That's why I didn't hear it.
PSS.
Yes.
Lack of discipline.
Well, that, yeah. And so we need a cure for PSS. And I call it assertive listening. It's okay, you're probably asking, okay, well, we know the issue now, Phil, what do we do about it? How much time have I got?
5 to 20.
Five. Because what I usually do at this point is demonstrate. Yeah? Because that's how I learned this skill, was by modelling. The problem is, to demonstrate I need a volunteer and I don't know how long it's going to take. So, but it might be worth giving it a go if someone wants to give it a go. And how about I make this promise? If we don't get... Now, so what I want is someone with some issue, some problem, but something, you know, not too life-altering, maybe just a decision you have to
I
make.
want to leave my wife, is it like?
Yeah. Not that way. So maybe something like you want to go on a holiday and there's 2 places you want to choose. Yeah?
yeah,
There you go.
All right.
Right.
Yeah. All right, good. So, what's your name, sir?
Sarah.
Sarah. Let's give Sarah an applause. Sarah. We'll do it up here. And I'm going to pretend there's no one else in the room. Oh, there's one there. It's just, I find it's just easy to demonstrate this rather than trying to talk about it. And we'll see how it goes. Now, I never know how this is going to go. So thank you, Sarah, for volunteering.
That's okay.
I really appreciate it. So what I want you guys to do is not so much focus on the issue, focus on the process. Yeah, what I'm doing. Okay, Sarah. So what's the issue?
My boyfriend won't listen to me, and I give him advice.
Start to sleep, Phil. So what happens? Give me an example of him not listening to you when you give him advice.
So he's always complaining to me that he wants to leave his job and get something new and do something different and do what I'm doing. So I give him the advice and I just get, yeah, maybe, one day. That's my issue. It's been going on for a year.
Oh, right. So it's been going on for a year. He says he wants to leave his job.
Yeah.
You give him the solution.
Yeah.
And he's like, eh.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Right. And that, so why is that an issue? Why is that a problem for you?
Because I can't get my message across and he asks for it but then won't take it.
Okay. And how does that make you feel when he does that?
Frustrated.
Right. So he asks for your advice, you give it to him, he doesn't act on it, and you get really frustrated.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, what would you like? What do you want to happen? What do you want him to do?
I want him to follow
You want?
the advice I'm giving him or other people give him.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it's not just advice you give him, other people as well.
Yeah, other people as well.
Oh, okay.
But
So
I
you-
feel like I'm going ahead.
You're sorry?
I'm going ahead.
Right. Okay. And that's what's frustrating. Because you're giving him advice, other people advice, he's not taking any action on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the part that's frustrating.
Yeah.
that he doesn't take action? Okay. What would you like him to do? Quit his job.
Am I failing at this?
You're
You
doing
can't
great.
fail here.
Now, you're doing great. So you want him to quit his job? Right. Why do you want him to quit his job?
So,
Okay. You want him to quit his job, he'll be happy, and...
and then I'll be happy as well, because he'll be happy.
Oh, okay. So if he's happy, you're happy.
Yeah.
At the moment, he's miserable.
Well, I'm happy and he's miserable, but I'd be even happier knowing he's happy.
Okay. So what do you think is the reason that he's not taking your advice?
Fear of failure has come down to me.
Yeah, so you think he's really scared
Yeah.
that if he leaves his job,
Yeah.
what do you think he's scared of?
Failing and making a bad decision.
Yeah, he might regret it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Do you want me to elaborate?
Sorry?
Do you want me to elaborate?
If you want it, yeah.
Well, my sister has the same issue as well. She doesn't listen when I give her advice.
So there's a couple of people in your life who've got the same problem.
And they always ask me for it.
Yeah, they're always asking you, what you're giving it, and then you take it.
And when they take it, then when it goes wrong, they blame me for telling them that.
Oh, right. So they have taken it in the past, your advice.
Yeah,
It's gone wrong, you're blaming you.
yeah. So I don't know if it's my issue or it's theirs.
Yeah. What do you think? Whose issue do you
Well,
think it
I
is?
stopped talking to my sister. I said, I'm never giving you advice again. She made her own decision, and it was really good.
Okay. So that worked
I
out.
asked her to make her own decision.
Yeah, by not giving her advice, let's fix that issue. So
So
that
I
one's
stopped
done.
doing that to my father.
Could work. Maybe that could work. It worked with your sister, it might work with him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Maybe
still being
stop.
blamed.
He's blaming you.
Oh, my sister kept blaming me.
She does still.
Oh, she used to, and I just say I'm talking to you.
Yeah, so she doesn't anymore.
No.
No. Okay. So what is the issue with your boyfriend? I don't think it's
So
Doesn't-
he's not happy because he's not, well, I'm giving him advice, I'm
Yeah.
not going ahead, and he's either not listening to me properly or just not taking it.
yeah. But it sounds like it's more than that, doesn't it? Because you brought in your sister as well, and now
Yeah, well, it's two similar things.
yeah,
I don't know what to do. Now she's happy, but he's still not happy.
yeah. Well, that worked with your sister.
Yeah, so
So
I should
maybe
just shut up and just let him do what he wants
you
to do.
think that might work?
Probably.
Yeah. Maybe not give him advice.
What happens when he asks for it? I tell him to go away and decide. I do it with my sister.
Well, what did you do with that?
I told her to go away and make her own decision.
So that could work maybe with you, you reckon? That's something you could try and see what happens.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
So you go. If nothing else, we entertain them. Now, quick, I know we've probably run out of time, but we have to debrief. What did you notice? Well, firstly, what was that like for you, Sarah?
I got a solution.
You got a
I have
solution.
no idea if I was good at this or not.
But you were new.
You would, yeah.
Yeah, all right, so you got a solution. Great. What did you guys notice?
Well, I thought you did a really good job because you weren't trying to solve the problem. You were throwing it back at her, asking her how did she feel about it and what if, and so she's basically solved her own problem.
Great.
Maybe you could be a psychologist as well.
Yeah, thank you. Great observation. Yeah, great observation. So I didn't give any solutions at any point, did I?
She answered her own solution.
She answered it. Yeah. So what was I? What did I provide?
You're a facilitator.
Facilitated. Sounding board. I facilitated her. Yeah. So I didn't do the PSS.
No, you weren't answering her questions, you were letting her speak to the end, and then obviously then you were digging deeper and deeper and deeper, till we got the
Yeah.
big hole in the bottom.
We drilled down. Yeah. Now, what else did you notice? Anything else?
Repeated everything she said.
Repeated everything she said. I just kept it. What the biggest challenge with doing that process, that listening, assertive, is to take all your stuff, my stuff, as the listener, and put it over here.
No judgment.
No judgment. Everything, all my beliefs, my values, everything. And that seems to be the most challenging part with not getting the PSS thing. And just purely
And in the beginning, Sarah said, he's not listening to me, but then the underlying thing is I'm not being heard, and if I am being heard, they don't value what I'm saying because it backfires.
Yeah, and we only found that out because I kept reflecting. Yeah. Now I could have come in at that top level and said, "Oh, you men are like that. I know what you're talking about." Especially if I was another woman. Yeah. No, I mean, not having to go with women. It's more like the Me Too thing. Aren't men like that? And it could be aren't women like that? They're all the same. And then where do we go? We stay at that level. Yeah.
Do you think personality comes in a lot to it?
Yeah, great question. And it's something that Pete mentioned before. We've all got different personalities. We want to move on. Some people want to move on. Come on, let's go to the next thing.
That's like, yeah, whatever I call it.
Yeah, it's like that would be really frustrating for
Tell me
someone that's
your
fast. Yeah, you want to move on. And we're all different personalities. That's one of the things that makes it challenging.
Do you think it changes your personality if you follow this structure? Do you think in any way?
Well, not so much change your personality, but I think everyone can do it. Everyone can learn this skill. Some people pick it up quicker than others. It's really a matter of practicing, like anything else you learn. Yeah. The thing is, though, every time I do that, every time I do it in front of people or on my own with my kids, with friends, you have to trust the process. Like Sarah at some stage said, "Am I doing this wrong?" It feels like that to me. I've been doing it for 18 years, and it feels that way. It's one of the challenges. You'll think, "Am I doing this wrong?" It's like, "Oh, it's not working. All the people are watching." But I found every single time, if I just trust the process and just ask those questions, even if I get stuck, it's like, "Well, what do you think?" And just find out more information. Just stick with the person every time. It's never failed in 18 years. You'll get to the bottom. So hopefully,
Do you think that means that everyone actually knows the answers to the questions?
Great question. Bingo, yeah. As business owners, if you have staff, then this is what when I teach it in companies, and they really get this, when they get it, that as a manager, as a team leader, they don't have to solve their problems. Yeah, if they use this technique, and then they're training their staff. Their staff know if I go to them with a problem, I'm going to have to solve it. Yeah.
Great conversation, because do you know Marshall Goldsmith, who wrote a book, What Got You Here Won't Get You There?
I've heard of it.
And he makes the same thing, and you nailed it, is that when you offer some advice, you think you've enhanced their idea for like 5%, you've disempowered them from ownership by 50%, but it's no longer their idea, it's now your idea. So
Yeah,
that's what
great.
it's great.
Thanks, Greg. 'Cause that's why it works, isn't it? Because it's their...
That's their ownership, they take ownership.
Yeah, you can't blame me now. Doesn't work out. You can, but yeah, that's a great word. Thanks for that. It really is.
Example on that, Bill, is if you get anything done, if you don't care who gets the credit for it. So
Yeah.
give the credit away.
Yeah,
Right? And that really makes sense.
that's a great point, and maybe that's where the ego comes in.
Yeah.
Some,
Always give the credit away.
yeah, they want to take the credit.
Yeah.
So we might take one more because we're probably running out of time, I guess. Aren't we?
You actually are she's empowering herself,
Mm.
and you're not the rescuer. And that's what a lot of people want to do, is rescue. And she found the answer, and she had it, and it was quite quickly, the way that she sort of dug down deep and got the answer, and then went, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a great point. It didn't take that long, did it? So is that your experience? You feel empowered with that?
Definitely,
Yeah, I saw it when you were there. I was like, oh yeah, I could do that. And oh yeah, you're a great point, because I feel that way. I feel like
And you're not rescuing.
I'm not rescuing, I'm not responsible. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, boyfriend's gonna get nothing now, mate. Where have you been tonight?
So hopefully that's going to be next month. Hopefully that's insight into that skill. If people want to know more, happy to come up and chat to me afterwards. But yeah, so
Awesome.
thank you.